These bullies don't know that the girl they are bullying will ruin their lives forever. The day began like any other in New Avalon High, a school where everyone knew everyone else's business, or at least thought they did. The building was sleek and modern, glassed walls, digital lockers, and interactive whiteboards in every classroom. Students navigated hallways with their eyes constantly glued to their screens. Everything here ran on technology and appearances. That was the unspoken rule. The more followers, the more respect. For most students, walking through the corridors of New Avalon High meant endless waves, nods, and winks, a place to show off new outfits or brag about weekend parties. But for Mia Fisher, it meant shrinking into the background. A petite girl with almond-shaped brown eyes, Mia always kept her long black hair tied back in a messy ponytail, as if to say, "Don't notice me." She clutched her bag tight and avoided eye contact, ducking behind taller students when a loud voice boomed nearby. She just wanted to get to her homeroom without incident. But that morning, Mia's heart sank the moment she entered the building. She could sense the tension in the air, a buzzing excitement that felt strangely malicious. Kids whispered to each other while smirking in Mia's direction. Others tapped on their screens, snickering behind cupped hands. Mia tried not to look, but her curiosity won out. She dared to open her phone. Her notifications were blowing up. Her classmates had been tagged, new messages flooded in, and a certain private video, a video Mia had never meant for anyone to see, was now making the rounds. It was an embarrassing clip. Mia, in her pajamas at home, practicing a dance routine in her bedroom. She'd recorded it weeks ago, intending to perfect her moves for a school talent show she'd never had the courage to sign up for. It was silly, private, and deeply personal, and now it was viral. She almost dropped her phone, her cheeks flushing red hot. How had anyone gotten that file? She'd never shared it. Nobody even knew she liked dancing, let alone recorded herself. Mia's mind raced, trying to piece together how this violation had happened. To answer that question, all she had to do was glance down the hallway. Leaning against a digital bulletin board, sporting a self-satisfied grin, stood Leila Rosario, queen of New Avalon High's social scene. Next to her were her loyal followers, Amber, who was great at pretending to be everyone's friend, and Josh and Kevin, two guys who ruled the school's online chatter. They were a tight-knit crew who thrived on attention and thrived even more on making other people miserable. Together, they called themselves the Aces, and everyone else simply followed their lead. "Hey, Mia," Leila called out, her tone syrupy sweet but with a razor's edge. "Nice dance moves, girl. Didn't know you were auditioning for that reality show, the next laughing stock." The corridor erupted in laughter. Mia's heart hammered in her chest. Her first instinct was to run away, find a corner in the library, somewhere quiet and safe. But that wouldn't solve anything. She swallowed hard and tried to breathe steadily. She knew what would happen if she confronted Leila right there. More humiliation, more laughter, and maybe even another leaked video. The Aces had no boundaries. With a nod and a forced half-smile, anything to not show how rattled she was, Mia turned and hurried away. By midday, the situation grew worse. The video was just the start. The Aces had hacked into Mia's social media, posting bizarre status updates from her accounts, making her seem desperate and needy. They peppered her timeline with fake confessions and weird conspiracy theories. Every refresh brought a new wave of mockery. Students pointed at her in the cafeteria, whispered in the bathrooms, and giggled behind textbooks. Mia tried to block it out, but it was impossible. The whole school seemed in on the joke. What hurt most was that no one stood up for her. Not a single classmate, not even the ones who were once friendly. Mia realized how carefully the Aces had orchestrated this. One by one, they turned people against her. They'd planted small rumors weeks before. Mia was stuck up. Mia thought she was better than everyone. Mia had insulted someone's best friend. All lies, but effective lies that chipped away at any chance she had for help. Now when people saw her humiliated, they assumed Mia must have done something to deserve it. It was easier to go along with the Aces than risk becoming their next target. In computer class, Mia stared at a blank screen, unable to focus. She was supposed to be coding a simple game. Everyone in the school learned coding from an early age. But her mind was elsewhere. Their teacher, Mr. Klein, was a kind man who told them to explore technology responsibly, to respect privacy and creativity. If only he knew what was happening under his nose. Mia considered talking to him, but reporting the Aces would probably just make them bolder and more dangerous. They prided themselves on being untouchable. Their parents donated big money to the school, and they had the principal wrapped around their finger. Besides, involving adults usually only made things worse and more public. As the afternoon sun streamed through the high-tech glass panels, Mia slipped out of the main building and found refuge near the old gym. For some reason, the school never upgraded that area. Rusted chain-link fences, chipped concrete steps, and a locked door that led to storage. It was quiet here. She leaned against the fence and tried to breathe. She felt helpless. Every path forward looked risky. Fighting back openly against the Aces meant more humiliation. Ignoring them only gave them more confidence. Confiding in teachers risked labeling her as a tattletale. She had no allies to recruit, and her reputation was in tatters. Mia's eyes watered, and she pressed her forehead against the cool metal links of the fence. She refused to cry where anyone could see, but here, alone, it might be safe. Just as a tear slipped down her cheek, her phone buzzed. Mia glanced at the screen. An unknown number had sent her a message. Feeling trapped, Mia? Her blood froze. The Aces were taunting her directly now. She considered blocking the number, but what good would that do? They'd find another way. She read the next message that popped up. Don't bother telling anyone. Nobody will believe you. Mia's stomach knotted. At that moment, something unexpected stirred inside her. Beneath the fear, shame, and confusion, there was a spark of anger. Mia was shy, yes, and soft-spoken, but she wasn't stupid. Technology was her comfort zone. Behind a screen, working quietly, she was unstoppable. She was good at coding and hacking, not that anyone knew. She had spent years teaching herself all sorts of digital tricks, deep in online forums and learning from experts who never asked who she was or what school she went to. She had built tools, played with encrypted chat rooms, and tested her skills against dummy firewalls. She never bragged about it because why would she? Being skilled at something that didn't bring you popularity in New Avalon High was basically useless currency. Useless, or maybe now it was precisely the currency she needed. Mia wiped her tears and straightened. She wouldn't lash out blindly. She wouldn't be childish about this. If the Aces wanted a digital war, they would get one, but on Mia's terms. She would take her time, find their vulnerabilities, and gather evidence. She would learn their secrets and watch them squirm. The Aces were playing a game they thought they had already won, but Mia had a different idea. She would let them continue for a while, dig their own grave, and then expose them so thoroughly they wouldn't just lose face at school, they would lose the futures they were counting on. Mia's resolve hardened. There was no going back now. She knew the stakes. If she failed, the humiliation would be total and permanent. But if she succeeded, the look on Leela's face alone would be worth it. When the final bell rang, Mia left the old gym area feeling more determined than ever. The bullies had shown their hand. They wanted her to crumble. They wanted to watch her beg for mercy. But they didn't know who Mia really was. Underneath that timid exterior lay a mind sharper than any digital fence they'd ever faced, a mind that could transform the infinite zeros and ones of cyberspace into a weapon of total revenge. As she headed home, Mia's eyes were no longer downcast. Instead, they were focused, already searching for weaknesses, already planning her first move. The Aces thought they had her cornered, but they had no idea. Mia was done being their target. Soon, they would be hers. Mia's bedroom hardly resembled the cheerful place it once was. Gone were the floral posters, the stuffed animals, and the pastel walls of a carefree childhood. Now it felt more like a quiet command center. She had cleared her desk, leaving only her laptop, a sturdy old external hard drive, and a notebook filled with scribbled ideas. After that brutal day at school, Mia knew she had to move fast. The Aces were bold, and if she hesitated, they would only tighten their grip. Mia powered up her laptop and secured her connection behind a maze of virtual private networks and encrypted tunnels. She took a deep breath, steadying her mind. This wasn't a game. She might still be just a kid, but she knew exactly what she was doing. She'd read enough online to understand what lines she could cross without getting caught and how to cover her tracks carefully. She started with social media footprint analysis, a fancy term she picked up in her nighttime coding sessions. Essentially, she was going to comb through the Aces' public online lives to find inconsistencies. Everyone had secrets, and the Aces, so hungry for fame, likely had more than a few. Mia's fingers flew over the keyboard. Layla's Instagram, Amber's fashion vlog, Josh's gaming channel, Kevin's smug rants. She opened them all. At first glance, it looked normal. Smiling group photos, cleverly edited videos, witty comments. But Mia knew how to look deeper. She checked timestamps. She checked metadata from old posts. She glanced at who commented, who liked what, and which accounts they followed. While doing this, Mia felt a tinge of guilt. She was stepping into a world of digital spying that most people never imagined. But then she remembered Leela's mocking grin and that horrible morning at school. The guilt faded. It didn't take long before she started noticing patterns. Once, months ago, Leela had posted a seemingly innocent photo of a new handbag with a big designer logo. Mia recalled reading somewhere about a scandal involving fake designer goods. What if Leela's wealthy family wasn't as clean-cut as they seemed? Mia made a note. Then she found something in Josh's videos. He bragged a lot about being a coding genius himself, claiming he'd developed a few flashy apps. But Mia recognized the code style in some screenshots he shared. He'd stolen it from popular open-source projects, pretending it was his. Not a crime, but enough to paint him as a fraud. Another note. And Kevin, he had a habit of tagging himself at events he never attended, lying about internships and workshops. So many small lies, individually harmless, maybe, but together they could form a pattern of dishonesty that Mia could use against him. Amber's case was trickier. She seemed the most careful and didn't post anything suspicious at first glance. But Mia wouldn't give up. There had to be something. She continued digging, switching tactics. She created a few fake social media accounts to join groups and forums the aces followed. Sometimes these digital hangouts offered dirt, slips of the tongue, minor confessions, inside jokes. Mia took her time. If she rushed, she might miss something big. Late into the night, after hours of searching, her eyes burned and her mind buzzed with half-formed plans. She pushed the laptop away and reached for her notebook. She listed what she had so far. Leela, possibly connected to her parents' questionable business deals or fake luxury goods. Josh, a plagiarist in coding terms. He could lose credibility if that got out. Kevin, a serial fabricator of his resume. Colleges wouldn't like that. Amber, still a blank spot. Need more data. Mia chewed on the end of her pen. She needed more than just embarrassing tidbits. She wanted leverage, something that would not just shame them for a day but derail their carefully planned futures. The aces were aiming high. Top colleges, big scholarships, influencer careers. Taking all that away would require proof of serious wrongdoing. The next day at school, Mia moved through the hallways as if nothing had changed. She kept her head down, still acting timid. If the aces suspected she was up to something, they might guard their secrets more carefully. Today, the harassment escalated. Someone had projected her dance video on the cafeteria wall during lunch. Mia pretended to be humiliated, rushing out of the room, tears in her eyes. Inside, though, she was calm. Let them think they still had the upper hand. Their overconfidence would be their downfall. Between classes, Mia found a quiet corner near the library's back shelves to check her phone. She had set some traps overnight. Quiet pings and trackers she'd embedded into the aces' known social media activity. If any of them tried something new or suspicious, she'd be alerted. Sure enough, a few alerts popped up. Nothing huge yet, but signs that Leela and Josh were exchanging private messages on a platform they believed was secure. Mia grinned. She would find a way in. In the following days, Mia took a gentler approach. Instead of barging into their accounts or trying to hack them outright, far too risky, she gathered small clues. She noticed that Leela always posted her morning smoothie pictures exactly 30 minutes after arriving at school. Why so precise? Because that's when she snuck off with Kevin to the unused science lab to make the photo look perfect. If Mia got footage of them breaking rules, like using a lock lab for personal photo shoots, she could get them in trouble with the administration. She also learned that Josh liked to hang out in the computer lab after school, working on his projects. Mia volunteered to stay after school for a coding club session. She didn't join the club, just sat near the back, pretending to do homework. She watched as Josh typed in code. He wasn't half as skilled as he claimed. More importantly, he left a USB drive plugged into a school computer and walked off to chat with friends. Careless. Mia noted the brand and model of the USB. If she ever got the chance, she could clone it or at least see what was on it. Maybe he kept a record of all the code he stole. That would be a goldmine. Amber remained a mystery. She was pleasant in person, always smiling, and never did the dirty work out in the open. But Mia noticed something odd. Amber's fashion vlog often featured clothing brands that suddenly disappeared after a few months. Mia suspected Amber might be promoting questionable knockoffs too, or maybe she participated in doxing smaller influencers to eliminate competition. If Mia found proof, Amber's influencer dreams would be over. While Mia collected these details, the aces continued to tighten the screws. They created a fake account pretending to be Mia's secret admirer and posted love letters that made her look desperate and silly. They spread rumors that Mia had bribed teachers for grades. None of it was true, but in New Avalon High's online ecosystem, truth didn't matter. Popular opinion did. Mia's social rank was rock bottom, and nobody lifted a finger to help. Yet Mia's emotions were getting sharper, not weaker. Each cruel prank added fuel to her determination. She wasn't just going to expose their lies, she was going to make them regret underestimating her. They believed she was powerless. She would prove them wrong, and not just by turning tables, she would shatter them. After another week of stealthy observation and careful note-taking, Mia decided it was time to escalate. She had found hints that Lila's father, a well-known entrepreneur, was in some financial trouble. Through public records and a bit of digital digging, Mia discovered suspicious shell companies connected to the Rosario family name. If Mia revealed these, Lila's family reputation could crumble, taking Lila's influence with it. That was a weapon too strong to use right now. Mia would save it for the final blow. Instead, Mia set her sights on something slightly easier. She wanted real, undeniable evidence of wrongdoing that would break the Aces' trust in each other. If she could set them against one another, they would implode before she even dropped the bigger bombs. A classic divide and conquer strategy. For that, she needed private conversations, messages they never expected anyone else to see. Mia knew how to impersonate a network admin. With the right lines of code, she could trick one of them into logging into a fake page. It would require impeccable timing. Tomorrow, the Aces were hosting a surprise birthday stunt for Kevin in the media lab. If Mia spoofed the lab's login page, Josh or Amber might type in their credentials without thinking twice. Once inside their accounts, Mia could gather their private chats and hidden files. It was risky. If caught, she'd face serious consequences. But if she succeeded, she'd have all the tools she needed. That night, Mia barely slept. Her heart was a storm of nerves and excitement. She understood now that there was no going back. She was about to cross a line, but it was a line forced upon her. The Aces didn't play fair, so why should she? Morning came, and Mia took her usual place, huddled behind other students, blending in. The Aces ignored her, laughing among themselves about the next big prank. Mia's gaze never left them. She was about to hack into their kingdom, a fortress they thought was unbreakable. And when she was done, they wouldn't just lose their power, they would watch their dreams slip through their fingers, all because they picked the wrong target. As the school day advanced, Mia locked her sights on the media lab, waiting for the right moment to spring her trap. The Aces didn't know it yet, but their perfect little empire was about to start crumbling from within. By the time lunch period ended the next day, the halls of New Avalon High felt strangely tense, as if everyone sensed something brewing beneath the school's polished surface. Mia stood behind a small cluster of lockers that offered just enough cover to watch the media lab from a distance. Her stomach fluttered with nervous energy. If everything worked correctly, the Aces would soon give her exactly what she needed. Inside the media lab, Mia spotted Lila, Kevin, Amber, and Josh huddled around a computer. They had planned a secret birthday stunt for Kevin. Mia had caught fragments of conversation about a surprise video montage. To upload it, they'd need to use the school's private network. Mia's trap was set. She had created a fake login page identical to the school's own. If any of them entered their credentials there, Mia would gain direct access to their accounts. Her phone buzzed softly. She tapped a command she prepared last night, deploying the phony login screen on the Media Lab's network. Now she waited, heart pounding, as Josh frowned at the computer, tapping at keys in frustration. Outside, Mia pressed against the lockers, listening as Lila hissed, "Hurry up." In seconds, Josh retyped his username and password, never suspecting the ruse. Mia's phone vibrated again, confirming her success. She hurried away before anyone noticed her lingering. Hiding near an old janitor's closet, she ran a small extraction script on her phone. Within minutes, she had access to Josh's messages, shared drives, and private notes. The text poured in, insults about classmates, mockery of Kevin's intelligence, doubts about Amber's loyalty, and complaints about Lila's control freak tendencies. The Aces, it turned out, were not as united as they pretended to be. More importantly, Mia found detailed records of how the Aces orchestrated their cyberbullying. A certain Nightole had guided them in hacking Mia's accounts, stealing her private files and spreading rumors. There were step-by-step instructions on planting fake evidence against Mia. Reading these instructions hurt, reminding her how carefully they had tried to ruin her. But it also fueled her resolve. With these files, Mia had the proof she needed to destroy their carefully cultivated image. As classes moved on, Mia blended back into the crowd, acting as if nothing was wrong. She observed the Aces from afar. They seemed confident still, laughing in the cafeteria and strolling down the halls as if they owned the place. But Mia knew what lay hidden on Josh's account. She also found references to a secret cloud folder shared by Leela and Amber, something containing more dirt on students, and even a whisper about Leela's family's questionable business deals. Over the next few days, Mia worked methodically. She could have destroyed them instantly by forwarding the files to the principal, the school board, or local reporters. But that would be too abrupt, giving them a chance to deny and spin. Mia wanted to see them sweat first. She wanted them to feel the dread of an unseen enemy circling closer. She started small. Late one evening, she sent an anonymous email to the school principal, hinting that certain popular students were involved in hacking the school's network. She mentioned checking the logs on a specific date. She knew the IT department would find Josh's fingerprints there. This would rattle the aces, forcing them to watch their backs. Then she posted an obscured screenshot of private chat onto a popular student forum. No names, but the conversation hinted at the aces insulting each other behind closed doors. Students began whispering, "Are the aces fighting? Something's off." Mia overheard some classmates speculating about who might be behind these leaks. She smiled to herself and kept quiet. The atmosphere around the aces changed. Leela's confident stride faltered. She kept checking her phone, her face pinched with worry. Amber lingered in the bathroom, eyes red as if she'd been crying. Kevin looked confused, following Leela's lead but clearly unsettled. Josh scowled at everyone, paranoid and tense. Mia relished the subtle shift in their demeanor. They knew they were under attack, but had no idea who was behind it. Still, Mia needed the final piece, the secret cloud folder. From Josh's notes, she had figured out the folder's name and some clues to its location. On a quiet Saturday night, she breached the folder's weak security measures. Inside, she found a trove of incriminating material, screenshots of the aces mocking minority students with cruel slurs, forging letters of recommendation for themselves, and tampering with other classmates' assignments. There were even notes about how Leela's parents kept questionable accounts off the books. Mia stared at her screen, anger and disgust tangling in her chest. These weren't just ordinary bullies. They were deliberate, malicious manipulators who enjoyed inflicting pain and lying for personal gain. Mia knew what she had to do. She prepared an archive of these files and timed an automated email blast to the entire school community, students, parents, teachers, even board members. Everything would go out Monday morning. Before hitting confirm, Mia paused, considering the nuclear scale of what she was about to do. This would ruin the aces' reputations and futures irrevocably. But then Mia remembered the fear and humiliation they had inflicted on her and others. They'd shown no mercy. They'd invaded her private life, stolen her dreams, and laughed while doing it. If anyone deserved justice, it was them. Mia pressed confirm. The countdown began. That night, as she lay in the darkness, Mia felt calm. Soon everyone would know the truth, and the aces would finally understand what it felt like to have their lives turned upside down. In one masterful stroke, the bullied girl they tried to break would shatter their perfect facades forever. Monday morning arrived as a quiet storm. At precisely 8:00 a.m., every teacher, student, and parent affiliated with New Avalon High received the same shocking email. The subject line read, "You deserve to know the truth." Within minutes, whispers spread like wildfire through the hallways. Students crowded around their phones. Teachers stood speechless at their desks. Parents began calling the school, demanding to know what was going on. Mia arrived at 8:15, blending into a student body that seemed locked in stunned silence. She moved carefully, expression neutral, as if curious but uninvolved. She had expected a reaction, but even she hadn't imagined this level of shock. The files and screenshots she'd released painted an unambiguous portrait of the aces, bullies, liars, hackers. Their private chats exposed cruel insults, stolen passwords, and carefully planned sabotage. There was no room for excuses or half-hearted apologies now. As Mia passed the main corridor, she caught sight of Leela, Amber, Kevin, and Josh. Gone were their confident smirks. Leela's eyes were rimmed with tears. Amber clung to her arm, trembling. Kevin looked ready to lash out at anyone who approached him, and Josh simply stared at his phone in disbelief. They were surrounded, though not physically, by a silent ring of classmates who watched with contempt. Mia heard someone say, "I can't believe we ever listened to them," and another respond, "I knew something was off." Principal Hanley's voice crackled over the intercom. He sounded shaken. "Students, we are aware of the messages circulating this morning. Rest assured, the administration is investigating. Classes will continue, but please remain calm and respectful. It was a hollow attempt at order. Everyone knew the school had just been rocked to its core. In the cafeteria, Mia claimed a corner table. She thought of everything that had led to this moment, the humiliation, the fear, the anger. Now, as she witnessed the aces stumble through the halls stripped of their power, Mia felt an odd, quiet calm. She had no desire to gloat publicly. Her revenge, so long in the making, was complete. A familiar face approached her table. Clara? A girl Mia only vaguely knew. Clara cleared her throat shyly. "Mind if I sit?" Mia nodded. Clara glanced around, unsure how to begin. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for not speaking up before." She lowered her eyes. "They were awful to you, and I never did anything. But after seeing those messages, it's clear how dangerous they really were." Mia appreciated the honesty. She knew not everyone had the courage to stand against bullies, especially bullies as powerful as the aces. "It's okay," Mia said softly. It was hard for anyone to stand up to them. Clara nodded, relief in her eyes. Maybe now things will change. Maybe people will think twice before hurting others. She gave a small, hopeful smile and headed off to join her friends. News traveled fast beyond the school walls. Parents arrived early, demanded meetings with the principal, and peppered teachers with questions. Some threatened to call the police, outraged at the hacking and harassment. Others talked about lawsuits, disciplinary hearings, and forced transfers. Colleges that had once courted Leela and Kevin would likely withdraw their offers after this scandal. Amber's fledgling influencer career would collapse now that everyone saw how she treated people. Josh's claims of coding brilliance were revealed as empty boasts. No top-tier tech school would want him now. Mia watched the aces one last time before heading to class. They stood near the administration office, eyes downcast, waiting to be summoned. None of them seemed to know what to say. They couldn't blame Mia by name. How could they? She had left no personal signature. They would wonder who had bested them and how they had underestimated that person so completely. The final bell of the day found the school still buzzing. Rumors said Leela's parents had come in, livid and embarrassed. Kevin's father demanded proof, only to be met with unanswerable evidence. Josh's mother stormed out of the building, furious at her son, while Amber's mother sank into a stunned silence. By the end of the week, suspensions or expulsions would almost certainly follow. The aces would leave New Avalon High not as heroes, but as cautionary tales. Mia took a detour after school, heading toward the old gym area where she'd once hidden to cry. Now she stood by the chain-link fence under the fading afternoon light, feeling lighter than she had in months. The oppressive weight of fear was gone. In its place was a quiet pride, not the flashy kind, but a steady assurance that she had reclaimed her dignity. Her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Whoever exposed them, thank you. We needed this." Mia smiled, typing back, "You're welcome." She felt no need to reveal herself. Let people believe it was justice appearing from nowhere. The important thing was that the truth had come out and the bullying empire had fallen. In the weeks that followed, the school would put new policies in place to prevent another situation like this. Students would think twice before mocking someone online. Teachers would pay closer attention. The atmosphere would grow more respectful, if not perfect. Change would come, slowly but surely. And Mia? She would continue forward quietly, her head held higher than before. Some classmates would rediscover their voices, perhaps even apologize. Others would be more cautious and kinder. As for the bullies, their reign was over. Their lives were changed forever. Mia turned away from the fence and walked home. She did not regret what she'd done. She had stood up for herself, maybe not with loud words, but with actions that ensured the aces would never hurt her or anyone else again. She had faced the monsters in the shadows and won. And from now on, she would live free of their cruelty, defined not by their actions, but by her own quiet courage.